Awesome. Welcome back. The SPN show. I'm here with Suneet and Preston. We're going to be talking about marketing, guys. Let's make money now. Right? How do you drive business? How do you move the needle? So I don't know. Let's start with Preston, man. When you think about marketing, where did you learn? Where did you learn how to market? And what's your philosophy? I mean, how do you go about it?
I mean, for me, really, it just was doing it, right? So when I first got into real estate, I was 2004. So I wanted to get in front of as many people as I could. So for me, it was just attracting eyeballs and building a database and just doing that and continuing to do that, just focus on building a database and you have more eyeballs and continue to just retarget that database. For me, that's in my business. That's the way I started. And obviously through the years, everything changed. I mean, you always want to focus on, what's working and what's new and continuing to test. I mean, I think that's what we could all say how many different things do you test to figure out what actually works?
Well, I mean, that's Suneet. That's kind of like, I don't know. That's a little high level. That's too high level, Preston.
Well, no. So while that's high level, because I'm curious, because if the listeners and viewers don't know, like Preston's accomplished at a lot of this as far as driving traffic and Google. Right. So he's a great marketer in the exact opposite sense that I am, right? As far as the actual implementation. Yes. So Preston, you made your first website in what year?
2004.
So a real estate website in 2004.
Yep.
Yeah, and I made my first website in 2008.
Yeah, so you guys made real estate. You guys didn't buy one of these box things. You guys made your own
website. I bought a Square. If you ever heard of Squarespace, it's like WordPress. Sure. Squarespace. I bought a Squarespace.
The runs on it, yeah.
Yeah, and then I iframed. I had to iframe the IDX in there, the internet data.
Yeah. So for me, I started with a company called Z57. So it was a template-based site. And then quickly realized the limitations with everything I was doing, like running backlinks. And I'm not going to nerd out too much. But then I worked with REW, Real Estate Webmasters, which back then was SEO. I was Morgan Carey, and worked on that. I think that site launched beginning of 2005, maybe late 2014. 2004, early 2005, in that range. But quickly, I continued to do what I was doing. And for a majority of the keywords, I was showing up as a kid in front of a lot of the real estate companies at the time.
So you found out either through people you're working with about, writing keyword rich content type marketing to drive organic traffic to your site.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was at Caldwell Banker, so they barely knew how to turn on a computer. It was more like online. Like there was online forums. I joined. Real Estate Webmasters had a forum back then. There was other ones. So I just researched that way. For me, I knew because I'm in a market where majority of the people move to our market from different areas. So for me, it was like, what am I going to do to get in front of them? How can I do? So I started doing that, and back then I was generating pretty quickly 20 to 30 organic leads a day, which was massive for one agent.
And organic's different than paid or.
Right. And it was a lot different back then too, though. Like, there wasn't many people that were forced registration and then calling people. So like a lot of the times they're like, oh, you're the only person that called me. I wish it was like that now, but it's not. But, it was a different time. And the amount of, the amount of phone call that people actually answering the phone was a lot higher back then than what it is now.
You got to look at Elon Musk, right? His first company he started with his brother Kimball was Zip2. I'm looking it up right. Zip2, right? You know what Zip2 was? It's basically a city guide.
Yeah.
It's a directory, y'all, right? And I mean, this guy's known as the greatest entrepreneur, the richest man in the world right now. And he started it as a marketer, as a keyword person, an SEO person. Yeah. And even you look at the All In podcast, all-in podcasts with like Chamath and Jason Calcanis and David Sachs. A lot of those guys started on digital marketing, keywords, things like that, right?
Yeah.
And so many real estate agents don't do that.
Look, my camera, my new fancy camera, just died a battery, so I had to go back to the, look at that save. I don't know if you saw it the other day, but I shared a video of Stevie Ray Vaughan changing a guitar mid solo. It was so good. Anyway, so this wasn't that good.
Tell me about like your first real estate ad that worked. What was your first real estate marketing piece that worked?
Really, it was really just getting in front of people that, so back then I didn't even run pay-per-click. Like I showed up, it was crazy. Back then SEO was a lot different, a lot easier than what it is now. So it was more people searching for property and then signing up that way. So it was kind of similar to what it is now. It was just keywords, real estate keywords associated with market neighborhoods or whatever. So that was really a majority of the initial things that I did. Was I didn't do a lot of print.
Okay, give me the headline. What's the headline for if you wanted your organic search to show up, what would it say?
Well, so back then it was like, search all the available properties in the Myrtle Beach, like a realtor, MLS or whatever. Same stuff you use now, right?
Yes, Suneet. Take me to the first ad marketing piece worked. Someone clicked on it and you sold them a home. You got a listing. What was your first ad?
So I remember was wanting leads, right? Yes. And I had leads and I paid for leads and I joined Keller Williams from Coldwell Banker, and the Keller Williams office was really new in town and snazzy. So I was at lunch with the team leader, a woman named Rochelle Andrania, who had a massive impact on my life. So shout out to Rochelle wherever she is. And I sell way more houses than you ever have. The whole team did, but thank you for putting me on that journey of growth. But so I was sitting at lunch eating some soup, and I said, I really want more leads. I was buying Zillow leads at the time in the worst zip code of Sacramento. She goes, well, you should go to Lab Coat Agents. So I did, and I started learning everything. The first thing I learned, because of my propensity towards being on social media, was running Facebook ads. Right. So I went down the rabbit hole, watched a bunch of YouTube videos. I hooked up with Travis Tom, who is a great guy and taught me a lot, and Tristan, who also taught me a lot. And I started running a lot of ads. And I found out really easy, just because you run a damn ad doesn't mean shit. Right. Because now you're looking at about 2016. So it was getting kind of noisy. And I'd been an agent for like a year and a half. And I ran ads and I had lots of challenges. This is so funny that we're talking about this today. So
what was an ad that worked? Yeah.
Well, hang on. It's so funny that we're talking about this. The day we're filming this is March 16th. It's my daughter's 7th birthday. 7 years ago today, guys. This is crazy we're talking about it. 7 years ago today, I put a blog up about a new bar opening in West Sac behind an opt-in, and I put it organically 7 years ago today, and it went viral to where, dude, I was putting the ad up, replying to leads as Christine was giving labor 7 years ago today. I remember sitting in there just all, holy shit, I'm getting all these leads. What
was the call to action? What was the call to action on the lead?
It was read about this new bar. Like the copy was weak. It was just a new bar at West Sac. Because West Sac needed a new bar and restaurant.
So the headline was new bar, click here to find out what it is. And it took them to your website.
Yep.
So that was just a drive in traffic. And then when they got to the website, how would you get a lead?
They would opt in to read the article about the bar.
Yeah. And you were like, hey, you were calling about bars, but do you own a home?
Dude, it totally worked. Maybe that wasn't the first time. That's the first time that I remember creating something. Because, I mean, maybe around the same time, and this still works for all the listeners. You want something, if you need to generate leads today, put homes list links on Facebook groups. We would generate hundreds, maybe if not thousands of leads a week. Homes list on Facebook groups. Homes list on Facebook groups. Do you know what the marketing spend on that? Zero. I mean, however much it is for the lander.
That's hilarious.
But both of those, dude, and still
it's funny. It's funny you say that, Suneet. Like a lot of the responses we get back from text message drips and email drips are always tied to a list. Respond back for an open house list. Respond back for these properties that aren't yet on the market yet. Those are really the messages that receive a lot of the responses, and it's tied to getting a list. It's like they're getting something.
It's getting.
Dude, it's the lead magnets. There's two major lead magnets in real estate: is the list of some kind of homes and your home value. That's it.
I remember the first call to action headline click lead generator I ever did. I was doing Craigslist ads. Craigslist was king, but I didn't have any. I didn't have any listings, so I called up agents in my marketplace that had listings and said, "Hey, can I market your homes online?" And you can tell your person that you're online now, because they weren't even marketing online, and they weren't on Craigslist. So I said, "I'll put it on Craigslist," and she said, they were like, "Okay." So I got 10 listings. I put them on Craigslist. And I say provided by Suneet. Like I didn't put my name on it. I said, I won't even put your name on it. I'll put your name on it. Not my name. I'll put your name on it. And so I put these listings up with other people's names on it. It was their listings. No one would ever call me. No one would ever even reply to these damn Craigslist ads. Because if they would see the home and if they didn't like it, then they were moving on. So then above the Craigslist ad, I would put get a list of foreclosures, short sales, and bank-owned properties. Click here. And when they clicked on it, they would go to my website. I was generating so many leads, like you, Suneet. All of a sudden, it was like click, 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 lead. And this is 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we had foreclosures.
Yeah.
But it's the list. When's it not the list? On the buy side. That's on the buy side, though.
Yeah. No, dude, that's Craigslist. For people listening and watching, like I have a VA who still puts all of my listings on Craigslist every single day. Single day.
Me too.
And they call a call action number. And I can't speak to closing any deals from it, but I'm not going to stop doing it. It cost $4.
And we have been doing Craigslist for a decade. But it's like the other thing is a lot of times I always hear agents say like, "Oh, Craigslist doesn't work." And I was like, "Well, how many ads did you run?" "Well, once." I go, "Yeah." At one time, one ad. I'm like, I had 100 going at one time every day. I would delete them and repurpose them every day. I did that for like 5 years.
Imagine what you could do with Chat GPT now. You have like 1,000.
So where did you learn marketing, Preston? Like, is there a guru, a book, a podcast? Who do you model?
Trial and error, really. I mean, to be honest with you, looking back, I'm sure I stayed up late studying at night. A lot of the lead gen things I did for SEO, like the backlinks, I use software to run. So it's the same thing, like getting in where, there wasn't Facebook groups back then. So it was getting in all these different forums. One of the big things I used to do back then was I'd build these little booklets out. And it was, I didn't have the money, so I had to do them myself. I'd build a for sale by owner booklet, and I would drive around and drop them in the mailboxes of all the for sale by owners. The big thing that I did when I got in real estate too was I went to because we're in a relocation market, so there's a lot of new homes. So I went to all the new home communities and learned everything I could about them. And that was, something I focused on as well. So, because if you have the knowledge and it's, whatever marketing you do, it's easy to figure out what works.
You had a for sale by owner guide, like a playbook guide, where you just help them out. Like, what was in the book? Why would they call you?
It was just it was everything to go, like what they could do to sell it. And I would probably get about 10 leads a month from that. I would just put them in mailboxes. I would knock on door. If they didn't answer, I'd put it in the mailbox.
That's funny because I know John, our buddy and partner and mentor, John Sheplak, he was doing FISBOs back in the 90s.
Yeah, this was 2005, 2006.
But it's like so many people want to convince a for sale by owner they're doing it the wrong way. Like, hey, FISBO, did you know that you statistically you're not going to sell it for as much money as I can?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things in the book was like a checklist of what they do after they sell it. So it was things like that. You know what I mean? It was like stuff they could use. I think I even had eventually, because the South Carolina real estate contract back then might have been 4 pages. So that was like, that was in there, right? So
you put the contract in there. Hey,
yeah.
When you get a buyer, you're probably going to need to have an offer.
Yeah.
But I mean,
helping them out.
I did well with that.
John would do the same thing. John would do the same thing. He would say, hey, here's a disclosure form. I'm just going to give it to you because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
So that's the reciprocity, right? That's the law of giving something first with no guarantee of getting it back.
And that's the lead magnet too. That gives value. White paper, right?
Well, you just sent me something too, Suneet, about it's the same thing. You were saying ebooks, right? Wasn't that Jason was saying to do that?
Oh yeah. Well,
Instagram.
Well, that was a good video, huh?
Yeah, that was a good video.
He said that you want to make it short, so you're not just like drowning these people and these lead magnets.
Yeah. Keep it short. I mean, when I caught on to like Dan Kennedy, I don't know if you guys ever followed Dan Kennedy, which
of course I got all his fucking things, BS newsletters. I had a file of them right here, literally.
Yeah, which ClickFunnels bought all his stuff or bought all his bought a lot of his content, but Dan Kennedy is kind of that guy that took the Dave Ogilvy stuff and the Madison Avenue stuff, and then he brought it to direct response marketing through mailers, infomercial mailers, clips, and
faxes.
When I learned direct response marketing, it kind of changed the game for me. Where it was like,
when did you learn it?
I learned it probably 2013.
You have 8 years of experience on me on direct response.
So it was, making them an offer, get them to respond, directly, go directly, make an offer. Here's what you're going to get. Click here and you're going to get something back. And your ads, no branding plays, don't spend money on brand, spend money on only marketing and advertising that gets a response that you can convert into a sale. Every dollar has to have a return to it. You're not Pepsi, you're not Coke, you're not freaking, don't play the branding play. And it's so true.
It's so funny that you say that. I was listening to Hormozy this morning. I'm constantly listening to Frank Kern, who's one of the, main students of Dan Kennedy. Frank Kern's current thing is all branding. Hormozy says that his 8th podcast he ever did was don't spend any time on branding. That's all he does now is branding.
Yeah, well,
right? I was thinking about that.
So what's the deal?
This morning, I was thinking about sending out mailers. That's all I'll say for this podcast.
Yeah, we were talking about mailers.
Yes, but I mean, so just for this podcast is with direct response, you have really no branding play, right? But with branding, you could also have a direct response play.
Okay. And
I think that however you want to take that, I'm more interested in branding now.
Well, the brand, I built my brand because my direct response marketing made money and I was able to scale my marketing to a level that no one else could, right? Like, so I sent out 1,000 postcards, and because that postcard made money, I was able to send out 10,000 postcards, and I have my brand on it. It's on there. It's secondary, but now I'm bigger, right? Yeah. And now I have billboards. That's a brand. Billboard's a branding play for me.
Yeah. Dan Kennedy was saying no friggin' billboards.
Right.
But then you talk to somebody like Perry Belcher, one of my mentors in marketing, who trained with Dan Kennedy forever, and another one of his prize students. Like, he doesn't really see anything wrong with billboards. Right? He goes, man, you're crazy to spend that kind of money, but in your business, it makes sense.
What about a force multiplier? I think of a billboard as a force multiplier. They hear me here, they see me here, they see me here. It's an authority play too. How do you think about what? How do you think about frequency, Preston?
I mean, once you have them in, you know, that's the thing. Like for me, it's get them in. Like I want to generate as many leads as I possibly can, get as many people in, and then turn up the frequency on the information they're getting from me. So like from newsletters, you know, they're getting newsletters, they're getting retargeting on Google, they're getting retargeting on Facebook. So it's, for me, it's like generate as many leads as I can, then turn up the frequency.
I thought you would have a frequency play because when you first start talking, you're like, well, I capture their information and I put them here, and then the marketing begins.
Yeah,
it's almost like Preston gets them in, then the game begins. Suneet's like, get them in all the time, widest funnel possible.
What's the same thing?
How do you think about it?
I mean, you bring them in the wide. I think that's what we all do: bring them in a wide funnel and then move them along. And you know, the ones as you move them along, they'll raise their hand when they're ready to go. I mean, you talk about non-branded too. Like the one thing I've always done in the real estate, like every website I did was always a non-branded site, because looking at the numbers, there was 10 to 20% more people registered on the non-branded site than the company site. And it's funny.
So
like
more people in Myrtle Beach go to Easy Home Search versus Palm.
But now, but now Easy Home Search is a brand, right? The non-branded has become a brand.
No. I love that.
Yeah.
Like some people need to rewind and listen to that again. What are the rates on non-branded versus branded?
When I used to A/B test it a lot with my previous company, it was about 10 to 20%.
Here's the thing. This is what I learned.
They're not. The thing is, you think about the psychology behind it. They're not attaching themselves to a brand, to like a Remax or whatever.
They're not ready to talk to a salesperson
That's
yet.
right.
They don't want to. Why do you think Zillow crushes us? They're not ready. So here's the thing. This is what I learned early on too, Suneet and Preston, and it goes to this principle that Preston just uncovered. He already knew that. Thanks for sharing that now. But,
he knows all the shit about the website sticking his.
Damn,
he's the one to ask.
Damn, I'm changing my website legally. You know, obviously we have to put our brand on some stuff, but they don't care. This is what I had to learn from Dan Kennedy and all these other people. They don't care about me. They don't want an agent. They want homes. Buyers want to look at homes. They don't want agents, right? Even sellers. Does a seller want an agent? No. They want their home sold for the most money when they're ready to sell it.
Well, so what would Dan Kennedy say about that is that we have to transform into the welcome guest, not the uninvited guest, which is, I think, his exact term.
Ooh, I like
that.
Right?
And how do you become the welcome guest? Well, you hit them at the right time with the right message. And some of that is your friggin' brand.
And you,
I mean, dude, like I said, I have all Dan Kennedy shit right here.
And you're available when that's the thing. Like you have to be available when they respond. Like all these people running automated.
Ooh.
And all of a sudden I respond back to your automated text and I'm waiting 30 minutes.
Ooh.
Whenever you finally respond, you're interrupting them when they could be chasing their kids, and they responded 30 minutes prior and they're ready to speak to you. But then they just figured out all your shit's automated because you didn't respond to the text.
Listen, Liz, I'll get your feedback on this. We have right now, I got about 47,000 visitors per month to my website. That's about 12. That's 1,200. That's 1,200 daily active users. Okay. So I told my director.
That's a lot, bro. In your little market?
Yeah.
Hey, I got to jump off, guys.
All right. Talk to you later, Preston.
Okay.
We'll wrap this up. But I want to get your take on this, Suneet.
All right.
Yeah.
So I said to my director of sales, I was like, okay, we have 1,200 people. It's a river. Our website's a river, and we got 1,200 fish flowing by it every single day. I go, why don't interrupt people's lives by calling them when they're not on the website? How about we just call the people on the website every day, right? While they're in the moment. that way, to your point, then I'm a welcome guest, I'm not like an unwelcome. Why are you showing up at 12 o'clock at night? You know, like people are eating dinner and you're like looking in their windows going, hey, you want to buy a home? It's like, no. So anyways, we kind of change our strategy, our tactic on lead. I think we're going to do an episode on lead conversion for sure. But
I mean, we'll do a couple on marketing because shit, this is where we live almost. We're just fancy marketers that know about real estate now. Well, at least I am. I'm a marketing hack anyways. So
what name a company that isn't beyond like GE or, you know, these tried and true companies that aren't marketing companies. They don't dominate marketing. Like you don't have to be the best if you're the best marketer.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that's what Dan Kennedy even said too. He's all like, is a lot of people want to go the agency route. And look, I totally get it. But if you're going to go the agency route, like get the basic understanding of what it is, because you're not going to be able to know if the agency is doing a good job or not. I have quit working with several agencies because they weren't working to my specifications or what I understood from learning about marketing. And it happened so much that I said, well, I don't need an agency. I can create my hand-picked international players to be in my agency for my 9-10 different businesses and save a couple grand, control everything. Not everyone likes it. That's okay. I like making sales and persuading people, man. Like that gets me excited, right? We talk about reading Cialdini's book. You read it every year, right? Like
we talk about this every single day. We talk about marketing every single day. And you know what just popped in my head was when I got into real estate too, and when I got into marketing, you know, people were being told that you only have 5 seconds. You only have 2 seconds. I remember them saying like, oh, if they go to your website, you only got 5 seconds to keep them there. And people's attention span is constantly getting lower and lower and lower and lower, right? Like they're being inundated by ads. And although that's really, really true, what I think podcasts are showing that if you can grab their attention, they're willing to stay with you for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. And so like Dan Kennedy and some tried and true marketers write long form copy. Like when everyone else is doing a postcard, they would do like a 7-page letter. And you would think, who would ever read 7 pages? The person that it doesn't matter how many people are willing to do it. It matters, right? The person that does read it, what are they going to do next? And so early in my career, I think it was 2008, 2009, my second year in the industry, coming after a whopping 1 sale, I made $6,000 my first year. I started writing letters to property owners. And they were long letters. I would type out a long letter and sign it in blue ink, right? And I was targeting, so instead of sending 10,000 postcards, I would send 30 letters.
Long form
letters to orchardists. So I live in an agriculture area. So I would send it to orchardists that own orchard land. And I had identified land use. So say you have 40 acres, I would say your zone 5 acres, you could subdivide it, right, into 8 lots. Would you like to know how? Right. And I would write a letter to them because you probably don't. I would say you probably don't want to farm forever. And maybe your kids aren't going to move back and help you farm. Would you like to?
So you would send them an advertorial on how to do that.
Yeah. And I would say, would you like to meet and go over a game plan so you can plan for the future? Right. So you can stop farming someday. And these 60, 70, 80-year-old farmers would invite me into their house and they owned a ton of land and I would help them subdivide. It's kind of funny. I even charged per hour. So I was charging $35 an hour. I think I made $26,000 in consulting fees my second year.
Dude, that's fascinating.
Yeah, for letters though, I think, and you look at what we're doing now, Suneet. We write a lot of content. We write stuff because we want people to read,
and we want to share our thoughts, and that's the only way. Is if you want to be considered a thought leader, well, people have to know what you're thinking, and then one of the easiest ways to let them know what you're thinking is through, producing content.
Well, this is episode 3 on marketing. We're gonna do a ton more marketing, and Preston's not here, so we can say nice things about him. But that dude knows some marketing and advertising, Google pay-per-click, digital. Whoa.
He is who I asked. Him and my boy Costin who the guy with the agency, right? Between the two of them, I feel like I'm in like a Google little force field, man. Those guys are smart. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. I'm like, I get 50,000 visitors to my little home search site. Plus, Preston has like 1 million.
He
A
gets a
million.
lot of. I mean, but then I don't have very much at all because, dude, I never looked at that. Right? I was always the portal guy. I was always the social media guy, and
Yes.
I probably messed up.
Well, no, it's not too
That's
late
okay.
because it's not too
Oh,
late
no.
because can't. I always thought about once someone goes to my site, once I have their email, how do I get them to go back to the site? Right? I can't count on my
Constant
agents.
marketing.
Constant marketing. So I'm always looking at daily active users. So I try to get people back to the site. Zillow does the same thing.
No,
Watch it.
100%.
I get emails from
100%.
Zillow. Everyone, if you're in real estate, everyone should sign up on Zillow like you're a buyer. Not
Absolutely.
as an agent, as a buyer. And you experience.
They email you every day.
Yeah. Every day. Get a Zestimate, get a Zillow, and you will see you are way behind when it comes to emails. Way behind.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Because what do they sell? They're selling their stockholders traffic. They sell agents traffic. They, we think we're selling them. They're selling leads. We call them leads. Zillow probably calls them like a client or like traffic or like a hand raiser.
Yeah, 100%.
Do they call it? Does Zillow call it a lead when they give it to you?
Yeah.
Do they?
But it's traffic. They're just driving traffic through every. The one. Well, here's the thing. Zillow is a brand that has become like a verb. I'm gonna, Zillow that house, or right. So their brand has transcended, and they created that brand by driving traffic and having a unique lead magnet, which you get your home value, right? So like,
yeah, and access. The other thing they have on their website is access to selection that it gives the sense though it's more than what you can offer, right? Because they have foreclosures, new construction, for sale by owners, right? So it gives the perception there's more access, more selection. It's not always true, right? So you have to counter that in your marketing with, oh no.
Do they have that now?
You have to have a link or an ad or something that gives the consumer the perception that you have the selection. You need to have more. Jeff Bezos, right? Amazon. What's their selling proposition?
Convenience.
Yes, the everything store. Selection. Jeff Bezos was like, what's not going to change? He said, people are always going to want the most selection, because he learned from Sam Walton. Sam Walton and Walmart, they were like, hey, people are going to come to us because we have the most selection and the best prices. Most selection, best prices. Jeff Bezos did that on the digital. As an agent, we have to give the consumer the perception that we have the selection. And we have the MLS. Yeah. We have the MLS, and a lot of marketplaces can't do coming soon listings or off market, but you can give them the perception that you have the insider pulse. You have
dude. I have a sick website, off market Sacramento homes that can't run. It's all built.
Oh, so sick. But that's a hot topic, right? Off market Sacramento. Like, I want that.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Lead magnet.
The way I thought about it is, if you were going to hire a stockbroker to buy stocks for you, right? Do you want the stockbroker that can go on to Vanguard and buy the stocks you can already buy? Or do you want the one that worked for like, what's her name? Like, do you want the one that has the insider info? even though you know it might be like, okay, insider.
Yeah, everybody wants the inside track. Everyone wants to feel special.
You want to be the first to know.
Yes.
That's the deal. The deal is not the price. The deal is the knowledge before other people get the knowledge. And so if you can get that message to the consumer, they're going to be attracted to you like a magnet. Right?
Dude, 100%.
Dude, I'm about to get off this pod and start doing some marketing.
Me too. Yes.
So, all right, man. Anything else you want to leave for the audience? Like, subscribe, share our podcast. You can find us on YouTube too. So if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast, Apple, iTunes podcast, or wherever, Spotify,
whatever it is.
You can download us on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can go, and also go to our YouTube channel, the SPN Show, and subscribe. It's the best way to support us. Share it with the community. Share it with your people outside of the real estate community, because we talk things that work in all businesses. We have other businesses.
Yeah, click like, share, subscribe. We just really want to provide it was funny when we made this, is we wanted something that we weren't getting from anything else really out there. We're specific to real estate, but we're not going to, parade a bunch of team leaders through here, because I already have a podcast that does that. And there's a lot of other ones, and they're really good. Yeah. Not our intention on this, right? Let's get a little bit higher level and think about the things that, as three pretty big operators in the country, I mean, they has like 80% market share or something crazy, right?
Yeah, the opposite of the 20%, but
yeah, same difference.
I thought initially you and I we were going to do a podcast together, and we're so glad we got Preston on board. But it was kind of like the idea was like, we're talking every day, Suneet, right? 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And it's like, wow, I bet you other people would want to be a fly on the wall and just hear what we're talking about. Because, you, me, and Preston combined, thanks to you, we're well over $1 billion a year in sales.
I'm well over $1 billion a year myself, but
right.
We're almost $1 billion.
Once you get over $1 billion, it just sounds ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, all right. Let's just let them in, and let's talk about it, and let people comment. So if you're on YouTube, comment, let us know what you want us to talk about. We will interact with you. We are accessible. You know what I'm saying? So we're in it with you. So, all right, man. Episode 3. We'll do episode 4 soon.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and we'll see you real soon.